Joining us now is Sourabh Gupta. He is an international relations policy specialist at the Institute for China-America Studies. So, Sourabh, not uncommon for ambassadors to come and go, especially after a leadership change, but that change has not happened yet. What do you make of the timing of Branstad's move out of China?
Yes, it is indeed a bit surprising. And of course, we've heard reports that Mr. Trump wants Mr. Branstad to come back and canvass for him in Iowa. And of course, the Iowa farmers are a very important constituency, and they were represented in a fairly big way. Their interests were represented in a fairly big way in the Phase 1 agreement. So yes, this is a little strange, and it's obviously also not a great time to have an ambassador lacking in one of the capitals. We know that there could be crises, particularly in areas like the Taiwan Straits, but we'll have to see where this goes. But it's a little bit shocking, it's surprising to say the least.
Right, and who knows when we'll see a new ambassador there. So that being said, how would you describe relations at the moment? You know, Trump is still throwing blame China's way. He can't seem to stop mentioning the coronavirus in conjunction with China and so much more. So what's happening right now between the two?
Obviously, the ties are just not good at this point of time. I hope there will be, at this, even for the next few months, just a little bit of separation, just on all sides, like folks just cool down a little bit. Obviously, the precipitator of all this has been the election and President Trump using China beating China up for hopefully at his end for electoral gains, which have not materialized and was never going to materialize because many of the issues on which he was beating China are just purely politicized issues at this end. In any case, we can just hope for the best in the next few months, and particularly I would put out a word of caution in terms of what he might do post-election too. You know, even if he loses, that is, it's hard to say at this point of time, and we just hope that there won't be any rash decisions taken which could even send relations spiraling even further downwards.
And that being said, you know, what is at stake for both countries less than a month ago until the U.S. election? And as you mentioned, whether he wins or loses, there's still this period of time where anything could happen. For example, could we see any movement with the trade deal?
You know, on the trade deal, actually, there's the Phase 1 trade deal is the good news story in the U.S.-China relationship. It has held up through thick and thin, even though, of course, I mean, China is behind on its purchasing commitments. That's because we had COVID this year. China has made a strenuous effort to purchase as much as it could, and it has made tremendous progress on the other chapters within Phase 1, on the IPR issues, technology transfer issues, agricultural biotechnology issues. That's the good news. The Phase 1 agreement is the good news, and it was always going to be good news because there was so much of purchasing, U.S. agriculture purchases that China was going to make, which was electorally important for Trump. But again, I would put out a word of caution post-election and if Mr. Trump loses. Remember, when Mr. Trump was president-elect, he had not yet got into office. He put a call in, he spoke with Madam Tsai in Taiwan. I am fearful right until January 20th as to where U.S.-China relations, particularly on cross-strait issues, might go. So yes, on trade it's a good story, but there are other areas where U.S. continues to push, including on trade-related and export control-related sanctions against China. So let's just see where this goes from here, frankly.
Very quickly, on a hypothetical, if Joe Biden wins the election, what do you see being the first priority for both of these countries?
Well, I think the first priority, I'll say two priorities. First priority is actually Mr. Biden, again, having a control tower kind of person who can manage the China relationship at a very senior level. It was completely absent in this relationship in the Trump years, and so there was so much chaos because all other actors jumped into the fray. The second area of priority, I think, both countries, again, I think will coordinate in a very significant way on public health and in terms of getting vaccine distribution out and managing COVID. COVID is not going away for many months, if not a year, and I think both countries will be seized of this matter in a Biden administration.
All right, Sourabh Gupta, always great to see you. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.